The Mark III Supra is the perfect project car. Miata, no shot. BRZ, not even close. S chassis, get out of here, leave, go, we don't want you here. Technically, the perfect project car doesn't actually exist, but I think the Mark III Supra is pretty close. There's a few different categories that I look at when I'm looking for a project car, and specifically what makes a good one. My most important categories are the engine, the chassis, the price, the parts, the looks, and the rarity. Now, one car won't be the greatest in every single category, or that'd be the car from heaven. It can get pretty close. So let's just get into it. Now, this might be you watching this video, and you might be thinking, wow, this is such a great video, and he works so hard on it. It'd probably be nice to subscribe so that I can see more videos like this, and to let him know that I enjoyed this video. All right, let's get right into the video. The engine. Toyota is known for producing some legendary engines, from the 2JZ, the 1JZ, the 1UZ, and the Mark III Supra has none of those. It has the 7M GTE. Now, that is the grandfather to the 1JZ. The M series of engines from Toyota dates all the way back to the 2000 GT. So it's pretty good. The 7M, a lot of people don't like it, but I think for the price, compared to a 2J and a 1J, it's better, honestly, for the price. Unless you're trying to make 1200 horsepower, which, let's be honest, none of us can afford, you don't need a 2J. The 7M will be plenty. The 7M can hold up to 550 wheel horsepower reliably on the stock internals, pistons, rods, and crankshaft. Obviously, you have to do some supporting mods and things like that to actually get the power out of it, but the engine typically doesn't explode if you tighten your head gasket. Now, the engine does have some known issues. I think if you're looking at a car like this, you're looking to rebuild the engine anyways, so honestly, not that big of a deal to just get in there and fix them right off the bat. They're pretty easy. The chassis. Now, the Supra is definitely not a sports car. It's a grand tourer, meaning it's kind of like floaty, stock form. It's a little heavy. It's like 3,800 pounds. That's crazy for a car with two doors. For comparison, your mom weighs 4,000, so that's a lot. If you put some coilovers and wider tires on there, they can actually handle relatively well. And let's be honest, you're not building a full-blown race car out of this. You're building a street car. This is plenty to keep up in the canyons. The chassis itself is pretty stiff and makes for a pretty tight handling experience. Pretty tight experience. Now, the price has gone up in the past 2 years. I bought mine for $3,000 with a blown engine, and it's pretty straight. No rust, nothing like that. No cracks in the dash, which is kind of a flex for Supra people. If you know, you know. But they definitely have gone up, and it's getting harder and harder to find clean examples for, relatively cheap. So I would say look for one with a blown engine that has a straight chassis, no rust, no big dents, no replacement of body parts, things like that. But the engine can be whatever, because you'll probably swap it anyways. You can buy a 7M GTE for like $1,000. The transmission, a little bit more expensive, like $2,500 for the good transmission. But I think that they're still well worth it with clean ones going for over, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. Now, the parts. The parts are where the Mark III Supra falls short. You can't find them, is the problem. It's kind of a rare car. They didn't make that many to begin with, and even now, after 35 years, there's even less on the road. I think it's estimated that 2,000 to 5,000 are still in roadworthy condition in the United States, out of all of them. So that's not a lot. Parts are pretty hard to find, especially if you're looking for OEM replacement parts. There are a couple of companies that make aftermarket parts for this car, Drift Motion being the biggest one. And if you're a Supra guy, you know Drift Motion. You know them. You bought something from them. There are a couple companies that make aftermarket parts, especially in Japan and things like that. But in the US, parts are hard to find. I needed a left window trim for the windshield. They only sold it in Canada, and they didn't have any, so I didn't buy that. Looks. Now, I think looks are a bit of a subjective category, obviously. Not everybody agrees on what cars look good. I think, personally, the Mark III Supra is one of the best looking JDM cars of all time. Period. I think it's better than the Mark IV. I think it's definitely better than the Mark V. For the money, it's one of the best looking cars. Way better than the Miata, that's for damn sure. And not one of you can argue with me about that. Not one. Okay? God. Obviously, this is a personal preference, but I think most people agree that the Mark III Supra does look pretty good. It's got some nice lines, and some wide hips, if you know what I'm saying. Now, rarity is the last category. And for me, I think I'm kind of weird in this opinion that I like to drive rare cars. Cars that you don't see every day. Not a lot of people have them. Not a lot of people know about them. Not a lot of people know what they are. Now, obviously, with this comes the parts problem where you can't find anything for them. But I think the Mark III Supra is right in the nice middle ground where if you live in a small town, you'll probably be the only one around. And even in the bigger cities, you probably only see them once a month, you know, unless like you have friends and stuff like that. You really don't see them all that often, and especially you don't see nice ones. I think that the Mark III Supra is in between that and, you know, the one of 500 cars that are crazy expensive and they don't make a lot of and you'll never be able to afford. It's a nice rare car for the average person. It's not like millions of dollars rare, but it's not like the Honda Civic. So I think that's what makes it good. All of these things added up, it's a pretty damn good car. I'll tell you what. Drive one. Go drive one with a turbo. Something about an inline six with a turbo in that like old, kind of scary, kind of why is it so fast? There's something about it. The torque with the boost it's something to be desired. That's why people like it. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe and, you know, like and all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully this summer, some videos with my actual Supra. Maybe. We'll see. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one. And you know what to do. Goodbye. Get out of here. Go buy a Supra. Go jack up the price for me, please. Thank you.